Good morning, students. Today's class is on abnormal constituents of urine, which are protein and blood. Protein and urine. Do proteins normally get excreted in urine? Yes. Some amount of proteins normally get excreted in urine. It is about less than 150 milligrams per day. This quantity of protein excreted in urine is not detected by the routine test done in labs. So what is proteinuria? Presence of detectable quantities of protein in urine is known as proteinuria. The causes for proteinuria can be broadly classified into physiological causes and pathological causes. In physiological causes for proteinuria, there is no any underlying disease or disorder, whereas in pathological causes for proteinuria, there is an underlying disease which causes proteinuria. Now, example for physiological causes for proteinuria are pregnancy, strenuous exercises, and orthostatic proteinuria. What is orthostatic proteinuria? Orthostatic proteinuria is a condition where the patient will have proteinuria if he stands in the upright posture for long hours. Whereas, if the patient is in the supine position for long hours, proteinuria is absent. This is called orthostatic proteinuria. This is why early morning urine sample is the preferred sample to test for proteins in urine. This is to exclude orthostatic proteinuria. Now moving on to pathological proteinuria. The pathological causes for proteinuria can be broadly classified into three types: pre-renal causes, renal causes, and post-renal causes. So pre-renal causes for proteinuria. This happens when the small molecular weight proteins are synthesized in more quantity in the circulation. So these small molecular weight proteins will be more than the kidney's ability to filter or reabsorb. Therefore, these small molecular weight proteins will overflow and get excreted in urine. This is called pre-renal proteinuria or overflow proteinuria. The example is multiple myeloma. Here, abnormal immunoglobulins are produced. The quantity of these abnormal immunoglobulins is so high so that it cannot be either filtered or reabsorbed in the kidney. Therefore, it gets excreted in urine. And this protein is called Benzon's protein. So Benzon's proteinuria is seen in multiple myeloma. This is an example for pre-renal causes of proteinuria. So when do we get renal proteinuria? When there is an injury to the glomerular membrane or renal tubular cells which causes proteinuria, then it comes under renal causes for proteinuria. For example, acute glomerulonephritis, nephrotic syndrome, diabetic nephropathy, hypertensive nephropathy. These are the causes for renal causes for proteinuria. Now what is post-renal proteinuria? When there is an infection, inflammation or injury to the lower urinary tract which causes proteinuria, then that condition comes under post-renal proteinuria. For example, urinary tract infections, urinary calculi. These conditions are the examples for post-renal causes of proteinuria. As I said earlier, the normal amount of protein which is excreted in urine is less than 150 milligrams per day, out of which 120 milligram is constituted by Tom Horsfall protein. This protein is secreted by the renal tubular epithelial cells and excreted in urine. This protein is not normally seen in circulation. The remaining 30 milligram per day is constituted by albumin, alpha-1 microglobulin, certain hormones and enzymes. So the amount of albumin that is excreted in urine normally is always less than 30 milligrams per day. If the amount of albumin excreted in urine is more than 30 milligrams per day, it is called albuminuria. Albuminuria can be classified into microalbuminuria and macroalbuminuria. What is microalbuminuria? If the albumin excretion in urine is more than 30 milligrams per day, it is called microalbuminuria. What is macroalbuminuria? If the albumin excretion in urine is more than 300 milligrams per day, then it is called macroalbuminuria. What are the tests that is done in labs to find proteinuria? Proteinuria can be even detected by the naked eyes if the proteinuria is more in the sample. So when a urine sample is more frothy, it is a sign which indicates proteinuria. So proteinuria can even be detected by the naked eyes. Presence of frothiness in urine indicates proteinuria. Now, what are the tests that is done to confirm this proteinuria? The common test that is done in labs is heat coagulation test, sulfosalicylic acid test and dipstick test. What is the test that is done to find benzone's proteinuria? There are special tests like acetic acid test and Bradshaw test. Now what we are going to see in today's class is heat coagulation test, sulfosalicylic acid test and dipsticks test, out of which what you do in your practical lab is heat coagulation test and sulfosalicylic acid test. So now moving on to heat coagulation test, how this test is done. Take a test tube, fill 3/4 of the test tube with a urine sample, hold the bottom of the test tube, heat the upper portion of the test tube. So here the bottom acts as a control against which the upper portion is compared. Now what you see is a coagulum will be formed in the heated upper portion of the test tube. Why this coagulum is formed? This coagulum is formed due to denaturation of proteins. What is denaturation? Denaturation is a process under which the chemical bonds of the protein are broken down. Therefore, the secondary, tertiary and quaternary structure of the protein is lost, leaving behind only the primary structure. In this picture, you can see how a normal protein on denaturation gets coagulated. So, the chemical bonds are broken down, only the primary structure is intact. So now you know on heating the protein gets denatured and a coagulum is formed. Now next step is add glacial 1% acetic acid to this coagulum. So if the coagulum intensifies on adding acetic acid, it indicates presence of protein. So why a coagulum intensifies on adding acetic acid? Because the isoelectric pH of albumin is acidic, which is around 4.6. On adding acetic acid, the urine sample is brought to the isoelectric pH of albumin. At isoelectric pH, albumin is insoluble. Therefore, the insoluble albumin gets precipitated. That is why your heat coagulum intensifies. So, if the heat coagulum intensifies on adding acetic acid, it indicates the presence of protein in urine. On the other hand, if the heat coagulum disappears on adding acetic acid, it indicates the presence of phosphate. Why is it so? Because phosphate is an interference in heat coagulation test. On adding acetic acid, if the phosphate that is present in urine, it will get dissolved. Therefore, on adding acetic acid, the coagulum disappears if the urine sample contains phosphate. Okay. So that is what about heat coagulation test. Now moving on to the next test, which is sulfosalicylic acid test. So this is a very simple test. Take a test tube, add 2 ml of urine sample to the test tube, add few drops of 20% sulfosalicylic acid. If a precipitate is seen, it indicates the presence of protein. Here, the precipitate formed is directly proportional to the quantity of protein present in urine. So, if the precipitate is more, then the protein in urine is also more. In this picture, you can see the results of sulfosalicylic acid test. So, if the precipitate is less, it indicates less amount of protein in urine. If the precipitate is more, that it indicates high amount of protein in urine. Normally the result for sulfosalicylic acid test is given as trace 1 plus, 2 plus, 3 plus and 4 plus. If there is no protein in urine, the result is given as negative. Now, what is the principle behind the sulfosalicylic acid test? The sulfosalicylic acid will dissociate to form sulfosalicylate, which is a negatively charged ion. This negatively charged sulfosalicylate will combine with the positively charged protein to form a white precipitate. Okay, so this is the principle behind sulfosalicylic acid test. What is the other test that is done to find protein in urine? It is urine dipstick test. This is a very simple test commonly done in labs. For this, you need dipstick reagent strips. So this will be supplied by the manufacturer. So the dipstick strip is dipped into the into the patient's urine sample. Take it away. Tap the strip against the edges of the sample container to remove excess urine. Then wait for 60 seconds. Now compare the color formed in the urine reagent strip with the color that is present on the reagent container. This is a semi-quantitative test. Just by matching the color, you can find the amount of protein present in the urine sample. Okay. So now what you have learnt is protein in urine. What is proteinuria? Presence of detectable quantities of protein in urine. The causes for proteinuria can be either physiological or pathological. Pathological causes can be either pre-renal, renal or post-renal. So what is albuminuria? Presence of albumin in urine, which is when more than 30 milligrams per day, it is microalbuminuria. When more than 300 milligrams per day, it is macroalbuminuria. What is the test that is done to find protein in urine? It is heat coagulation test, sulfosalicylic acid test and dipstick test. So now we will go on to the next test that is done to find blood in urine. So blood in urine can be broadly classified into two types, hematuria and hemoglobinuria. When intact RBCs are found in urine, it is called hematuria. When free hemoglobin is seen in urine, it is called hemoglobinuria. So hemoglobinuria is seen when there is hemolysis in the body. So blood in urine is usually visible by the naked eyes. The sample will be red in color. To confirm this blood in urine, you have certain tests like Benzidine test. Okay. Now I said blood in urine can be either due to hematuria or hemoglobinuria. What are the causes for hematuria? The causes for hematuria are urinary tract infections, renal stones, renal tumors, acute glomerulonephritis. What are the causes for hemoglobinuria? The common causes are malaria, burns and crush injuries. Now how to test for what is the test done to find blood in urine? It is Benzidine test. Before going on to Benzidine test, how to differentiate this hematuria and hemoglobinuria? This is by simple centrifugation. If you centrifuge a urine sample containing blood, if you get a clear supernatant with RBC settled at the bottom, it indicates hematuria. If the urine sample is fully red even after centrifugation without any clear supernatant, then it indicates hemoglobinuria. Here in this picture you can see the first sample shows hematuria. So before centrifugation the sample is red. After centrifugation, RBC settle at the bottom with a clear supernatant at the top. So this indicates hematuria. Whereas the second sample shows hemoglobinuria. Here Even before centrifugation and after centrifugation, the sample is completely red. Now, what is the test done to find blood and urine? It is Benzidine test. How this test is done? Take a test tube, add a knife pinch of Benzidine powder, add 1 ml of acetic acid, 1 ml of hydrogen peroxide and 1 ml of urine sample. I will repeat it again. Take a test tube, add knife pinch of Benzidine, add 1 ml of acetic acid, add 1 ml of hydrogen peroxide and 1 ml of urine sample. You will get a blue or green color. This indicates the presence of blood in urine. And what is the principle behind this test? The acetic acid that you add will combine with hemoglobin to form acid hematine. This acid hematine has a pseudoperoxidase activity which will split hydrogen peroxide into water and nascent oxygen. This nascent oxygen will oxidize the benzidine powder to blue or green color. Thank you.